This is your official Leguizamo spoiler warning. If you have not seen Freak, the 1997 filmed special directed by Spike Lee, starring John Leguizamo and written by the same guy who stars in it, I would highly recommend watching it before you listen to this episode. It's really, really good and you should watch it anyway. But we will be spoiling what happens in it. Okay, thank you.
Peace. I hate the word.
Hello and welcome to Mish and Zach's Leguizamo, but more specifically, the number 2 in our top 8 most Leguizamo and best Leguizamo works that ever there was. Our final crowning 2 months of the Leguizamo part of the Mish and Zach podcast. It's been a wild ride. We've got one more to go. I don't want to get too, final about it all. Let's save it for next week. But this is our second last episode. I am Zachary Rawain. I'm one of those 2 hosts. And my favourite John Leguizamo. It's a reveal next week. My second, my favourite unit of time, I would say, is the hour.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm joined by Mish Wittrup, whose favourite unit of time is...
Quarterly. Quarters.
Yeah. As in a quarter of a year?
Yeah. 3 months.
Wow, good. We're joined, not as always, but like Tuesday.
Special, for specials.
For specials, special producer B.
Hello.
B, what's your favourite unit of time?
I reckon 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Half hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Simpsons episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Half-hour is nice because it's like a TV show episode time.
20 feels good as well. But like I was talking more like general units, but like what's my favourite unit, block of time? I'm a big believer, actually. Here it is. I'm a big believer in 10 minutes.
Here it is,
10 minutes. So I read once that Indiana Jones, I think I've talked about this before. Indiana Jones is based on the adventure movies in the 20s and 30s and 40s. Before a movie, they would play one reel thing. So it was serials, and they'd play one reel and it would be 10 minutes long, and then it would end on a little to be continued. And apparently Indiana Jones was aping that. So if you watch the first 3, 4 maybe, but the first 3, the entire story is told in little 10-minute increments.
That's cool.
And apparently a lot of Steven Spielberg's earlier films have that kind of feeling of like you have a little beginning, middle and end. Everything plays out in 10 minutes and then we move on to the next part of the story. And I was like, it's funny because people are like, oh, people's attention spans are so short now.
Yeah.
People are like, da-da-da-da. And it's like, no, but most movies now, particularly Hollywood movies, they spend 30 minutes in a set piece.
Yeah.
They spend so long. So I think 10 minutes is a good rule of thumb. You want to be moving on after 10 minutes.
I think that 90 minutes is a really nice amount of time to block
perfect.
out. Yeah. It's a really, really, it's a nice amount of time for a coffee catch up with a friend. It is an ideal amount of time for a movie most of the time. 90 minutes is like a perfect amount of time. I just feel like 90 minutes it's a lovely nap. It's a really nice afternoon nap.
That's a big nap.
Yeah, but I'm talking nap in terms of like lying down on your phone, reading a book, sleep.
Yeah,
the whole period of time that you've given yourself for self-care.
Yeah, the
90 minutes is really, really nice.
Yeah,
I think 90 minutes is pretty close to
I hear
ideal.
90-minute nap and I think, like dry mouth, when you have a nap and you're like,
It's
I
too long.
fucking love a nap.
I love a nap.
I never
Same.
take them anymore. I used to love a nap.
Naps are great.
All right, shall I jump into the blurb?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So number 2. This is so exciting.
So exciting.
Freak is a 1990s. I got 8. Is it 7?
It might be 97
I think it's 97.
I think, but it might have been 97
says-
was the Broadway show, 98 was the special.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. It says 98 on IMDb.
Yeah, cool. Freak is a 1998 solo show written and performed by John Leguizamo. It debuted on Broadway and was described by John as a demi-quasi-pseudo-autobiography.
Nice.
He tells the story of his upbringing, from his birth to being raised in Queens, New York, all the way up to his beginnings in theatre in his early 20s. He plays multiple characters, including his parents, his friends, theatre practitioners, and his many lovers. This particular filmed special was directed by Spike Lee, who has canoodled with John professionally in numerous projects, and together they turned this special into something that blew the socks off of your favourite podcast hosts, Mish and Zach.
Yes. I will say on the rewatch, I loved it again.
I was so excited to rewatch this one again because when we watched it, this was another one of those ones that did a little sneak attack on us because I don't think we knew what to expect. I had never seen any of his... We'd done Latin history
for morons, yeah.
Yeah, but I just didn't really know what to expect, and it just blew my tits off, to be perfectly honest with you. And I was so excited to rewatch this one. This is another one of those ones that had we not chosen to do a top 8, which I'm so glad we did. What a lovely way to wrap this up. I would have watched this again.
It's
for
one
sure.
It's one I think about a lot. There's two aspects that I feel like are worth talking about, and it is the special itself, like the show itself, the one-man show. And the filming of it. So I'll talk about the one-man show first. There's something really refreshing and cool. You know, like I feel like comedy specials have really sort of crystallized and solidified in the last 20 years, and they're very much now stand-up shows. It's very rare. There are still versions of it where they mix it up, but it's very rare to see something that isn't sort of straight up stand-up. So it's so nice to see a one-man show. Like, this is not a stand-up show at all. It is a one-man show, but it's being filmed for HBO. And I just go like, it's so nice, this idea of like, there used to be a time where if you were a comedy fan, you lived in America, I think it was Sunday night. I don't know when it was, but there was this time slotted out for comedy specials, and you would watch these specials and it would make careers. And the fact that people were being exposed to more than just, you know, now you go to a special because you like the comedian, but that there was this idea of like, oh, I like specials, I like HBO comedy specials, I'll see what's on this week. And then suddenly you're watching a 2-act one-man show about a man growing up as a Latino immigrant in New York. And like, it's funny and it's all of that stuff, but it's just not just a stand-up show.
No.
I love it. It just speaks to that. I love whatever about the show, but it's like, I just think we get so caught up in like definitions of things, and it's just so nice to be like, who gives a fuck what this is? It just is. Watch it. It's so good.
Well, and one of the reasons I think that I liked Freak so much is it kind of covers so many bases because you can watch it like a movie. It's got that Spike Lee touch of like, this is a fully thought out little like you can watch it like a film. It's as long as one, and it's got like, you know, all the theatrical kind of elements of one, a lot of them anyway, not all of them, but a lot of them. But it covers all the comedy bases, and it's just, yeah, you don't see a lot of, I think comparable would be Phoebe Waller-Bridge's Fleabag solo show. Did you ever see that?
Yes. That's
Similarly, it's like this incredibly funny woman who you would associate so often with comedy is just this incredible writer with amazing dramatic chops as well. And that is filmed also really beautifully.
But what's interesting about Fleabag is that was released as a national theatre. So it was released as theatre being filmed. Whereas I think if they had released Fleabag as a HBO special, now people would be like, well, it's more of a one-woman show than it is a comedy show. And it's just like, who gives a fuck? Like, when people like say they don't like a thing because of it doesn't fit their definition of the thing, it's like, who gives a fuck?
Who cares? Shut up. Just enjoy it.
But no, it is very similar. Fleabag's a great reference.
They're my two favourites. They're my two favourite film specials.
You're a stand-up, Mish. You know, I do sketch. I've not done solo stuff yet.
Oh, here we go.
But what do you like about the live show? Pretend you're at the live show. Tell me what your thoughts are as someone who's made four live shows. You've blurred theatre in the past, but I'd say you more lean towards stand-up in what you do.
I have in the past.
Oh. But tell me what your thoughts are on the show itself. From that perspective, I'd be curious.
Well, it's a lot more theatrical. So like, It is a lot more theatrical. It isn't stand-up. Stand-up, I think there's a... everyone's different. Everybody is different. But for me, in the stand-up space, is that you have to let the script go at a certain point. And that's where the big difference is for me. So, like, once I know the stories I want to tell and I've written the script and there's edits done to the script and you've handed them on to people to do other edits and stuff like that and you've got it and you know your stories and you know what you've got to say, for stand-up, I think
you got to let it go.
Yeah, it's like, and I mean, I reckon now after 4 shows, I feel like I feel comfortable enough in the space to be able to go. I think that's advice that I can give to people who want to start, because I still feel very green and very new in the stand-up space, right? But the piece of advice I would give to anybody who is doing a solo stand-up show is at a certain point you have to let go of the script, because there's so many live elements that can come into a stand-up show that a script can't prepare you for. Whereas in a theatre space, if I'm going to go see the theatre and this is whatever, that kind of idea of like outside elements affecting it are far less. I
often find, I mean, I've never done a solo show, but when I watch and give advice, and I've done, plenty of non-solo shows, it's like with what I do when it's comedy, I find that the script, for want of a better word, doesn't have to be that funny, because when you're doing something, like we do, the jokes will come through the chat. And I
love Donna scripts, if you don't mind me using Donna's name. I love it when I get a Donna script. I've been asked to do something for Donna, because often the script is just like they leave the kitchen in a hurry. And it's like, well, I know that that's going to take 10 minutes. But I love that. Like, I love that about how you guys do sketch. But I feel like with theatre, and I miss theatre. I really miss it. Like, I truly do miss it. I think that there has to be a respect paid to the text, because you've taken that text on to then perform that text. Whereas with a stand-up show, for me, it's a showcasing of me in comedy spaces rather than the script. That's not the...
Well, if you like stand-up...
Does that make sense?
No, totally. I think stand-up... But it's also, again, definitions. Like,
B, do you do stand-up?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. How do you feel? I asked that question knowing very well that you do, and having worked with you and seen you in a lot of shit, but I wanted you to be involved.
So you're trying to let the audience in on that.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the thing about stand-up, and often why stand-up specials, like tape specials, don't hit the same, is because it is about, being in that space and kind of responding to the audience, because it is kind of like an open thing. I totally understand what you mean about like letting go of the script, because I've seen so many stand-up shows where people are not doing that, and you can feel it and the audience can feel it, and it's kind of like, well, what's the point? I might as well watch a play. Yeah. Because like it is that whole thing of like with stand-up of like, oh, I was at the shops the other day, suspend your disbelief that this is a story that I've made up, all of that stuff.
Yeah,
so
100%.
But there's also like, I mean, this is where our definition's right. Like part of why I left the world of theatre and why I don't do a lot of theatre anymore is because I got frustrated with this like hard line, so much theatre. I mean, it should be more like that. It should be more like, what's the vibe in the room? You know what? Drop a couple of words here. Drop that line. Make that move. Change it a little bit to fit. We're here in a room. Like, so it's an interesting kind of balance to strike.
Yeah, I think 100%. It's like the chain of command with theatre, right? Yeah. Because it's like you don't want to change a script, because then you're kind of stepping on the toes of someone else. Whereas with stand-up, it is your own material that you're writing, so it doesn't matter if you change a word there. Whereas like I can see a writer for a theatre piece being like, what the fuck? You didn't say the exact same word that I've written down.
No,
which is true, yeah.
No, but I think that in theatre that every writer is different, obviously, but that's the writer's prerogative. If they want to go, cool, and this is word, but you've chosen my play, so you do this play word perfect. They exist, but those writers do exist.
And that's fair. And
Samuel Beckett was one of them, for example.
Yeah, you should be respectful to the work. I totally agree with that.
But I like to play, so that's why I think... Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, I just think there's a balance to it, right? It's like, so there's this bit in Sidney Lumet's book about making movies, called, I believe, Making Movies, where he talks about his film with I'm having a mental blank. It's one of my favorite ones, Dog Day Afternoon, and he talks about how he read this script and he's like, I love this script, but for this film to really work, it has to feel real. And he does like a really he had a 2-week rehearsal process before every film that he made, which is like, God, could you imagine that, having that money? And he said he talked to the writer and he was like, listen, I want to do a lot of improv in the rehearsal and I want you in the room with me. I want you writing down that improv and then I want you to incorporate that improv into the script and then that becomes our shooting script. And I can't remember the percentage, but I think it was like 60, 70% of the script got rewritten from improv. And he describes like there's one phone call between Al Pacino and his partner where he was like, they did an improv version of it and Al Pacino's side of the conversation became more real, became more like organic. So, but then the other character, it lost something. So the rewrite was they took all of Al Pacino's improvs, wrote them down, but kept the written responses. So it became this like improvised questions, but then really profoundly written answers.
Oh, I love that.
And it creates this feeling. And then he talks about that and he goes, and then the writer ended up getting nominated for best screenplay. But it's because, and he was like, and he was like, and the writer fucking deserved that.
Yeah.
But it's about, I love that story because it's like the director should respect the writer, but sometimes respecting the writing, going, you've written something really raw and really energetic and really true to life. And the best way we can respect what you've written here is to disrespect 60% of it or is to change up 60% of it. Come be a collaborator. And I think theatre doesn't do that enough. It's like,
I agree with you completely.
you're sitting there and you're seeing a bunch of actors who have been told you have to do this from the director, who's been told I really need you to do this from the writer. And it's like, well, why aren't I just reading your fucking script?
Yeah.
You know, like,
No, truly.
You know, like there has to be that handover. But it's a balance. You know, it's like you want to change that up. And different things are different works. Like you wouldn't want to do that with everyone.
Shakespeare or something.
I think you should do it.
Totally. Like,
I see a horn betwixt those very, like, all right, we can mix that up. But yeah, and it's interesting. Anyway, what a fun aside.
No, I'm totally on board.
Mish, you were saying.
I don't remember. But no, I think with this particular piece, like obviously it's John's story. John wrote it. He's a storyteller and I think a phenomenal writer. And I think he had fun and I think he played with this. And there were little moments, like one of my favourite moments in this special, I love that they kept it in, was he's running at a wall, but then there's a crew member that's standing in the way of the wall. And as he's delivering his line, he's running at the wall and he needs to put his body against the wall.
It's like a handheld cameraman.
And he's running and he sees the guy and he goes, you're in my way, man. And he's like, all right, let's reverse that. We'll start that again. And they kept it in.
And he does a little like rewind riff.
And then he does it like, it's just, I just love it. I feel like it really captures in a way that other live specials don't, the live element of it.
It is.
And it's like you feel like you're in the audience. You really do feel and I know we talked about this last time, but
the people won't remember.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like,
you really feel that live element, which I think is why Freak won the awards. It's why Freak was so popular and why it's sold out on Broadway is because of that live element. You really do feel that. And then there's this incredible moment right at the end where he breaks that wall and looks at the camera and delivers that line. And it just feels like this, like black, like you just get sucked right back down, and it's so incredible and it's so beautifully done.
It's so that's the thing. I think it's the best of his one-man shows
without question. Right. And I love all of his I really truly enjoyed all of his one-man shows,
but it's this almost separate thing. Like people, when they talk about specials, they talk about it like they don't often talk about how it's captured unless it's done in a really showy way. The way this is filmed is so good. And I'm like, I wonder if I would have noticed it if I didn't go, oh, Spike Lee. You know what I mean? Like if I didn't see a director I recognized in the titles, would I have noticed it? But I really think I would have. And it's just to give like the listener an idea. It feels like there's a lot of cameras, but a lot of them are handheld. There's cameras on stage. Like there's camera people on stage, handheld. So you're getting an angle that you very rarely get. Usually the cameras shoot from further away, a lot of long lens. If the cameras are closer to the stage, they're often down with the audience. But there's cameras on stage. They're handheld. They shoot from really interesting angles. It keeps a lot of like focus pulls. Like it feels like it's really incredible the way it feels like he hasn't been told to do much, and it feels like it's lit for theatre. Often like they overlight things, but it feels like it's lit for theatre. But then there's times where it'll be like a reverse shot. So it feels really organic. It feels like he's not being restricted at all. And it feels like there's just these handheld cameras that are capturing him wherever he might be. And they're often quite close up, which is like more close up, sort of more in like a mid, like MCU to close up than a special would normally be. So then that makes it harder for them to like keep him in shot. So he'll often go out of focus. He'll often move out of shot. So it gives it this feeling of like it's really raw and it's immediate.
Yeah.
You're there with him like as he's like sweating buckets. It feels like you're in the room, right? But so it's got that energy. But then there's so many shots on the second watch where you're like, that is planned. That's a planned shot, right? There's the really showy one at the end, which is incredible. But there's like one, I can't remember where it sits exactly, but where he's facing the audience and the camera is behind him, but it's a lot closer. There's often a shot in a lot of specials where the camera's right up the back and it's kind of preset, but this is a handheld camera behind him shooting like at the audience. But where it falls, it like fits the moment, like what he's saying. But also the audience, I think, is more lit than they normally would be. So I'm like, all right, did they just pull up the lights just to get that shot? Like there's this like a level of planning that's happened, and there's other shots that
There's this incredible shot that they've got that they bring to, particularly in the second half, which is like an audience member in the front row on the end.
Yes,
and it's looking up at him and you miss his feet because the stage is there, but you get this incredible angle and it's very black around him and then just this kind of like John surrounded by this like very black light. It's just incredible.
There's another moment in it, but it's also like, except for that final shot, none of it is showy. Like the whole feeling that it's trying to capture is we're just getting what we can. But there's so many like good shots. There's also a moment I noticed, and I had to rewind it, when he goes in and does audience participation. It feels so much like, because I've been thinking a lot about specials and like shooting specials, and I've been thinking a lot about, I'm a big believer in like shooting across multiple nights and mushing it together. And then I was watching this and I was like, oh no, this feels like it was one night, we get what we get, lots of cameras. And then there's a moment of audience interaction where he like folds over a person and then he starts talking again. And I realized between shots, and I didn't notice it the first time, it's such a bold move to keep this in, the person that he sits on changes. So they've shot over multiple nights. And I feel like there's this sense of shooting over multiple nights so that, you know, but then creating the feeling that we're just getting one night is so clever, because it also means, so then you go, all right, they shot over multiple nights and still they choose to keep the moment where he runs into the cameraman.
Yeah.
So like you get this like, it's like he bumps into the cameraman. And then, so by acknowledging the fact that this is a tape special, we get further into the idea of like letting go of the tape special. Like it's brilliant stuff. You know what I mean?
So
like
good.
It's like, and then like, yeah.
Touching on the audience participation bit, it's also my favourite bit. Well, I have two favourite bits. Is when he's talking about going to see a chorus line with his uncle and watching Morales, the character in that, and it's being the first Latina character he's ever seen performing that isn't a junkie or like isn't, you know, some sort of like criminal. Seeing this performer as a dancer singing that song about like digging deep down to find your like whatever. And I just love that bit so much. It's just, it's pure John. It's pure Leguizamo and everything I love about him in terms of the nuance, the subtlety, all the stuff I love that he does. And I just think it's such a beautiful depiction. It's so beautifully written of a child kind of creating a memory in this moment of like, which is really going to drive him in the future. And I love that. And on a complete, and that's during the audience participation.
I also love
bit.
with that, the ladder, they've like, so the way he goes up into like the Queen's box.
Yeah.
And this is about but there's a ladder built in. So it's like, so it makes it feel really organic. It feels like he's just running around and then he just like climbs up a ladder real quick and then he's in the Queen's box. It's like, they've put that ladder there.
Yeah. So that
it's
he can
so well done.
So well done.
Yeah.
And then on a completely different note, my other favourite bit in this whole special is when he's talking about when he loses his virginity to a sex worker, a German sex worker. It's so funny. Like, it's wild and how his dad takes him to a sex worker so he can lose his virginity. And he describes when it's over because he's just like, this is the best ever, let's do it again. She's like, your time is up. And he's like, and then she grabbed each labia and flew away like a bat.
You mentioned this last.
Oh, did I?
I'm pretty sure.
It's so funny. This visual of this naked German sex worker flying away like a bat with a vagina is so funny.
That's so funny.
I love it. I love it so much. Fucking loved this rewatch.
There's also, it's really cool because I often think about like comedy and earnestness and like, because the last show I did with Legz is the first time I've ever done anything resembling not comedy within a comedy show. I remember I called Michelle Brazier, our director, and friend of the
queen of doing
the queen of it. And I was like, how do I do the earnest bit? I'm really struggling with it. And she's like, first piece of advice is don't think of it as earnest. Like, if you think of it as earnest, that becomes really heavy. And then she was talking through a whole bunch of stuff. And then she said the line, she was like, how about this? You know, just be like, hey, here's a thought. How about that? Take it or leave it. And I was like, oh, that's it. You know, when you like someone talks for ages and they're like, no, that's the direction I need. Then I went off and took that and then it made it work for me. But it's like, there's a lot in this where, reminds me of Boy, Taika Waititi's film, where it's like, there's not this sense of, all right, stop laughing now. Like, he never is, it's like he kind of keeps the jokes going all the way through. He goes serious. He'll like, but like if the audience is laughing, that's okay. And oftentimes you hear in the laughter, because I think when you're on stage sometimes and people laugh a bit, so you're like, that wasn't meant to be the funny bit. You often think they're not getting it. And this is the first time I've ever realized like a lot of the people laughing at the serious bits in this show are the people that get it more. Because I'm sitting here as someone who hasn't experienced some of this shit. I'm like, oh, this is very serious. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, no, that was a joke. And that was for other people that have experienced stuff like this. And they don't need to be serious in this moment. This bit's funny to them. And it's like that realization, I was like, whoa.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Like so many of his stories about the Latin experience are ones that I can't.
But also there's stuff in there that I you know, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it... Yeah, there's parts throughout his whole career where he's written and created, you know, different things about his Latin experience that I can't relate to. I can't imagine. But there's I feel like there's always so much in his work that you can like latch like that image of like being at the theatre and watching somebody and going, I can do that. That could be me, and I've not seen that before. I've had similar experiences to that, and he really, really does kind of share his experiences with a very broad range of people, and I just think that he does it so well.
It's very specific experiences. It's something we've talked a lot about. It's like the path to true universal writing is to go really specific. And, you know, you get this, that's what most of the notes are in this world are like, you got to make it more broad, you got to make it more universal. It's like, no, dig into the specific because that's where you find
like
universal.
His whole bit about his dad coming to his dressing room and saying like, you know, this theatre stuff is not like a real career and not really ever supporting him and stuff like it's such a specific example. So if you don't have an absent or shitty father, must be nice. If you don't have that, you would have had experiences where you feel like you're beating, you know, your head against a brick wall or you're not going anywhere, or you don't feel supported or whatever. It's, you can really, really relate to so many. Anyone who's struggled at any point could probably relate to one of the stories.
I also think, I mean, it's an incredibly... The ending of the show and the way he ties together like his experience as a Latino actor and that inspiration, but then his relationship with his dad, like it's an incredibly written and dramaturgically an incredibly written show, and that sense of like drawing the line between what his dad was trying to do raising him and like the pride he was trying to take in his work and and how they're not that different. Him then trying to, and then that shot that where he looks down the barrel of the camera.
Oh God, didn't it just like my whole body went like sunk into itself. I gained like 50 kilos.
Isn't it like also such a thing of like, you're talking about respecting the writing? Like there are so many directors that would like do that. Like it's like, oh, here's a moment where we're going to break the illusion. We're going to have someone look directly at the camera, but they're thinking about the directing of it. They might do it multiple times. It's like, but that is so deeply in service to the show that John's written. It's so profoundly like creating this moment to drive home the point.
Yeah.
And it's a really beautiful point, but it's not like, it's such a well-written show.
Oh, I think, well, this is why did we put it in our top 8, which I think we've made very clear because we've just spent the whole time being like, we love it so much.
Yeah.
Like we're both real simps for this.
It's a great show.
Honest to God.
It's a great show and it's a great special.
I will watch this again. And whenever I ever get to a point in my career where I feel like I want to film a special or I want to write a one-man show, which I feel the itch to do it. And watching this really does like
gives
drive
me the itch to do something. Yeah,
I'm itchy as. I would refer to this.
Probably go to a special.
We can talk about that off pod. I will refer to this always. I do think that anyone who is in theatre or writing should watch this.
I think anyone that
in comedy that's
performer, wanting to shoot
if you're a performer.
Special, so often people go for the really showy specials or the shiny floor. This is just one I think this is answering a set of questions. I wouldn't shoot a stand-up special like this, but so much of the thought, it's how to, bring something different.
Yeah.
It's such a well-shot special.
So good. And the reason it's in the top 8 for me, and please tell me if you disagree, but I don't think you will, is because I think that this, and the reason it's number 2, which is right up there, is I think that this taught me so much about who he is as a performer and what he is capable of and how amazing he is. And it really does, this particular piece showcases everything he can do.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's so broad. And I think it is an indication, no, wrong word. I think it is a indication.
It's all right.
No, I think it shows off what a talented human being he is. Like he is otherworldly in this and across the board. I truly mean it. Like, It is some of the best writing, acting. It is by far and away the best film special. We've discussed that I have seen. And it is why I think he is one of the greatest actors of our time, is because of stuff like this. And it just really, it makes my creative juices just fucking flow, baby.
So I think it's one of those ones where I feel like sometimes when I recommend or we recommend things, I'll get a DM occasionally being like, "What, bro? Why'd you recommend that?" And I think there's an element of like, we're both comedians. We've both thought about specials, watched specials. Like, there's layers to this where I go, maybe for someone who's like less in our world, they might go, what's going on here? Like, I think just to the listener, I would say, if you go and watch this off our back, you've got to realize it's like 1998 comedy ages. There's going to be jokes there that don't hit. And I'm not even just talking about the jokes evolve, comedy changes, things that were so you've got to sort of step into it, I think, from that perspective of just being like, this is a different sort of time, and like and also we're coming from a place of we'd watch a lot of theatre when we were teenagers and in our early 20s, so we're like right on board with a theatre show, and it might bump for someone who doesn't watch as much theatre, that it might take you about 10-15 minutes. You might be like, whoa, okay, this is really theatre-y.
Yeah.
And it's about just saying, like, I would say inviting that viewer to just sort of sit with it, embrace what it's doing, embrace the language that it's using.
And the story as well.
And just sort of like go with it, because it just, I think it is really well done. I think for me, what I love about it, I think everything you said, so I won't repeat that. I just love it as well because it's a confluence of so many things that I love. I love theater, I love comedy, I love film, I love filmmaking. It's
Good writing.
Good writing. It's so nice to see. There's that line when he's playing his mother who he's done as broadly a caricature through the whole film. And then he says that line when she breaks up with her husband for a second time, who's been his dad, who's been like the biggest cunt to her. And where he goes, what are you doing? Are you having a breakdown? And she goes, no, I'm having a breakthrough. And it's played as a laugh. And then she goes, you need to be able to recognize that like I'm going to fuck up the exact line, but it's like, you need to be able to realize or recognize the difference between the end of your story and the start of mine. It's just like this beautiful piece of writing. Like you can't see the difference. And it's just like, fuck. And he does that line and then he moves on and it's like, it's so beautifully written. It's so well done. But what I really love about it is I love, and I've talked about this a lot, like when people have done something for so long that they're able to use the tools that they have. They're not thinking about the tools that they have. They're able to use those tools and then point it at something. And but they're still fresh enough that they've still got something to say. And this feels like that on multiple fronts. It feels like here's a guy who has figured out how to play characters, how to do one-man shows. This is his third show, maybe his fourth show.
This is his third.
Third, but it's also his first,
maybe it's his fourth.
Out and out, biographical one, I think.
Sexaholics. Was that before or after this?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it feels like this real moment of here is a guy who has developed all these skills, is like at peak fitness. Like we talk about him being really fit at this time, but like genuinely is really fit as a performer. Like he's running up those stairs. Like he's in full control of his body. And it's just all of this, and then he's in a position where he can ask Spike fucking Lee to direct his HBO special, and then Spike Lee is bringing all that he knows, and it's just people that are really, really, really good at what they do, doing something really, really well. Like, fuck, that's like half the fucking point, isn't it? That's why we watch stuff, you know?
The rewatch of this was a joy. I've said it before, pretty much every episode in this top 8, that I have loved the rewatch of the best of.
I feel like, we're still checking in about what we're going to do next after Leguizamo. I think we're going to do lots of different things. Don't worry, we'll definitely do Ferengarama. But I also definitely want to have in the mix just watching good shit for long runs.
Honestly, wouldn't that be nice? What a joy. Let us know what you thought of Freak as well.
Please watch it. It's so fucking good.
Totally worth it.
You going to watch it?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it. Like, it sounds amazing.
It's so good. You're going to watch it though and be like, these guys are so John Leguizamo pills.
It's just like comparatively, like, it's amazing.
It's just an hour and a half of him doing his Asian accents. You're like, what the fuck
was
You're
that?
like, yeah, I know it hasn't aged well, but the quality is still there.
No, but B, if you really do want to watch, and B did say this to me off pod, that she's really interested in watching more Asian accent stuff. There's plenty in his oeuvre.
That's not true. You can't do that, bitch. You can throw me under the bus. It's not true.
Thank you for coming on this journey with us all the way up to number 2. Next week, it's our final Leguizamo episode.
Ever.
Huge. Ever.
Unless we do one on the Odyssey.
On the Odyssey, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, we'll see. But ever. Let's just claim it.
Please. It's
done. Next week, done.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next week one last time for Leguizamo. Thank you. Enjoy. And let us know what you thought of Freak. Bye.
The Mish and Zach podcast is recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We believe that our collective culture will never reach its full potential until we embrace the history and the truth of the oldest cultures of this land.